Good morning, House Church leaders. This is Andrew coming to you from my basement on Thursday morning. I'm re-recording a video that I had posted on the House Church leaders wall yesterday because whatever, it was crappy quality. But I felt like I had a couple important things that I wanted to say to you, and I'm experimenting with this mode of doing it. So, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, the one thing that I wanted to share with you guys was, when we started, when we launched our house churches, the new house churches about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, or however long it's been, we were actually frankly surprised at how many people signed up the night that we had the sign up thing. We were surprised that, gosh, some of your groups had as many as 20 or more signups, which is really amazing. We just don't know at that point anyway, we didn't know how well the concept of house church was translating to people, whether or not they understood it and bought into it. And so it was really cool to see all those signups. And it was also really cool to see that almost as many people as signed up for your groups actually attended the first couple weeks. In our thinking, we were planning on being really happy if about half of those people came, just because we haven't had a good history of follow through at Bloom for whatever reason. So people have been coming to the groups, which is awesome. At some point, if it hasn't already happened in your group, it probably will soon. Um, you're gonna hit you're gonna hit a moment where you feel like, oh my gosh, like is our group dying? Is this thing failing? What's happening? Your attendance is gonna be a little bit lower. And what's going to happen is you're going to start thinking that something is wrong with you, or something is wrong with your leadership, or something is wrong with the way that you're conducting your meetings, etc., etc. And when that happens, what we want you to know is that it probably has nothing to do with you, and it probably has more to do with the people themselves and the busyness of their own lives and all those sorts of things. What we have found over the last couple years of leading house church is that one of the most important things we can do as leaders is control our own reactivity to the ups and downs of house church. So there have been times when house church, all of a sudden 30 people will show up in our living room, and for us that's evidence that we're really doing things right, and then all of a sudden we get all excited about that and we overreact to it, and it winds up just being kind of a fart in the wind, something that just sort of accidentally happens, and it really had nothing to do with how awesome we were. It just a lot of people showed up. On the flip side, there are nights that we've only had 9 or 10 people show up, and you're tempted to think, oh man, something's really wrong with what I'm doing here. And what we found is that that process is more important than, no, sorry about that, but that process is more important than content. And what I mean by that is that the process of how we do house church, how we lead people, how we care for people, how we build community is at least as important as any of the short-term results that we're getting in the moment. And so us figuring out, this even works on the macro level at Bloom. There are nights that we have tons of people show up, and it would be really easy to go, okay, well, we've got all these people, now we got to capture this momentum. And that's precisely the wrong thing to do. For us, when we have a lot of people show up, we go, that's cool. What are we working on? What are we focusing on? What are we doing? So I say all of that just to say that if and when you hit that first kind of like dip in attendance, or that feeling that, oh man, all these people aren't showing up, you're probably actually in a better place than you were when all of those people were there before. Because what you need to try to do is figure out, what does it look like to build a density of community? What does it look like to stay committed to the fundamentals, committed to the process, committed to all of those little things that you do that build community. Remember that you're in this more or less for the long haul. And we just want you to know that as leaders, we're not standing here going, that Hayes group, they only had 8 people come this past week. Not that that actually happened, but they only had 8 people come this week. Boy, they really ought to get their act together. We've had plenty of weeks where things have been off, and it's our commitment just to what we do over the long haul, that you keep showing up, and you keep doing the liturgy, you keep owning it, you keep settling into your own sense of leadership. All of those things are the things that make the biggest difference over time. So if you have off weeks, it's all good. If you have great weeks, it's all good. What we want you to do is just stay committed to the process. Along with that, remember, first of all, we're trying to get all the leaders together for our leaders meeting on November 5th. Boy, this is turning into a long video. We're trying to get all the leaders together for a leaders meeting on November 5th. That's a Saturday night. Bring everybody together, hear updates on your groups, pray for each other, all kinds of fun stuff. And then secondly, we probably should have mentioned this a long time ago, but it's worth saying now. Um, we don't want you guys to get burned out as leaders, and there are nights that you're going to need to take off of house church or what, for whatever reason. And so we might even actually encourage you in the next 4 or 5 weeks to just pick a night that's either an off night completely, just kind of give everybody a break, or you just turn it into a fun night and just tell everybody. We've done that plenty of times where we just go, hey guys, we're not going to do our normal thing. We're just going to gather for dinner and, I don't know, watch baseball, or I don't know, whatever you do, watch a movie, The Office, whatever. So you're more than welcome to do that. Sometimes that change of pace is really nice, and it's a breath of fresh air for everybody. Okay, this is 5 minutes and going on 50 seconds of entirely too long of a video. Love you guys very much. As always, if you need anything or whatever, call us. And okay, that's that. I'm done with this video.